Hey, I'm Chris Ralph, the professional prospector, and today we're going to talk about gold and Bitcoin. Now, hey, I know a lot of people who watch my channel are also interested in Bitcoin, and some people kind of see them as related things, like gold is analog Bitcoin and Bitcoin is digital gold. That's actually a silly saying because although both are things that people invest in, they're not really that much related. Even if extraction of Bitcoin is called mining, it's nothing like mining for gold. So yeah, both are investments, but both, they're not that closely related. But we're going to talk about one versus the other. Should you invest in one? Should you invest in the other? Should you invest in both? I don't know. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to get into the details. And one of the things I'm going to tell you is the future of Bitcoin is pretty dim. And I'm going to explain why. Now, not anytime in the near future. You probably are safe for at least 5 years, maybe 10, maybe 15. I don't know. We'll see, but I'm going to talk about why in the longer term private cryptocurrencies are going to get replaced. So first, let's talk about all the excitement. I mean, I'm sure that people are going to invest in Bitcoin and make money in the years to come. There's no doubt about it. The surging price of Bitcoin has led to huge excitement. There's people interested in it all over. And in fact, there's such interest in it that there's other types of cryptocurrency. And in fact, there are now more than 10,000 different cryptocurrencies out on the market. Because basically it doesn't cost anything to make one. One of the popular ones lately, Dogecoin, was started as a joke. So it wasn't a high dollar thing. And so if if I wanted to start a coin, I could start Chris Ralph coin. I don't think anybody'd invest in it. I wouldn't. But it's really not that much. And then you start a coin and it's all about attracting a following, attracting people to be interested in it for whatever reason. And actually some of the newer coins have much better features because Bitcoin was started in 2009 and, technology has improved and things. And so there's actually coins that have better digital features than Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin is by far the most popular. But surging prices also mean the reverse, falling prices. And so you get excitement, yay, Bitcoin! And then you get Bitcoin dropping like 20% or more in a day, and it's like, ooh! It's a really, really, really volatile market. It goes up and it goes down fast. Now, one of the things I want to talk about that a lot of people don't get into is the dangers of coin theft. And you say, oh, it's impossible. It's got the blockchain. Everybody knows where it's going. It's like, yeah, think about that again. Because the history of Bitcoin is one fraught with theft. In fact, years ago, there was a company called Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox was a coin exchange that was based in Tokyo. And it was launched in 2010, which, Bitcoin itself was only launched in 2009. And by 2013 or 2014, Mt. Gox was handling something around 70% of all Bitcoin transactions, which pretty amazing, the one coin exchange having that large a percentage of the market. Well, suddenly something happened, and in February of 2014, Mt. Gox suddenly suspended trading. You had coin in their account? Oops! It closed its website and the exchange service, and it filed for bankruptcy protection from its creditors. In April of 2014, the company began liquidation proceedings. Mt. Gox announced that the 850,000 Bitcoins that were held in account with various, for various customers, it was all gone. It was missing. Who knows where it went? Many people just assumed that the entire accounts that they had, the 850,000, were simply stolen or mismanaged or otherwise taken. Eventually, in tracing through their records and that sort of stuff, about 200,000 Bitcoin were eventually found. But the customers owned 850,000. It's not known, all the details of the disappearance. Was it theft? Was it fraud? Was it mismanagement? Was it multiple things, all of the above? Nobody really knows. But there's been a bankruptcy proceeding that's been ongoing for years. And, there's actually had some news on this recently where people who've had accounts that they're trying to get their Bitcoin out of. And you think about this. Those people have, had huge amounts. And even if there's only 200,000 left that they can divide up, well, they just can't access them. Even if they say, well, basically what it works out to be is about 0.23, so a little less than a quarter of the number of Bitcoins that were supposed to be held are available. But they can't get to them because it's in a bankruptcy proceeding. So great, huh? Now, you may say to yourself, bah, that was way back when, that's never going to happen again. It couldn't happen. Think again. In just a few weeks ago, a month ago, something like that, Turkey, the nation of Turkey, put out some severe limitations on Bitcoin, and they just came out as being strongly against it and limiting what people could do. And so what happened was there actually are a couple of coin exchanges in Turkey, based in Turkey, and surprise, the people who own those companies suddenly disappeared. And the Turkish police have put out calls to Interpol to get these people back, but they're missing and on the run with many dollars worth of coins of Bitcoin. One of the things about Bitcoin is, if I have gold actually in my house, if I did, I don't, but if I did, someone would have to come in here and get it. Whereas with Bitcoin, if the people who are holding your Bitcoin for you in a coin exchange are dishonest, they can steal it just by pushing a button. And so the people of Turkey who had Bitcoin with these couple of exchanges, they're in a bad way. They're now in the Mount Gox box. If some of it's recovered, it's likely to be in bankruptcy for years and years to come. So, holding Bitcoin, there are real dangers of theft. Don't tell yourself that, oh yeah, Bitcoin, it can't be stolen, got the blockchain, got everything, it's all documented, no problem. Yeah, that doesn't work like that. The popularity of various coins ebbs and flows. Right now it's been really Bitcoin the whole time, and Ethereum and a couple others in secondary places. Doge has been in the news because of its fast rocket up because of comments related to Elon Musk. But there's not a guarantee that Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of those others won't be replaced by other coins that have better programming and better records and better tracing ability. Like I said, there are other coins on the market, more newer, that don't have the same life history as Bitcoin or Ethereum, that have some advantages. And, just like computer programs, 15, 20 years ago, Netscape was the search engine and browser. It was just super popular. And over the years, things came and went, and now, most of my newer viewers, younger viewers, you may never even heard of Bitcoin, or I'm sorry, you may never even have heard of Netscape, and that's kind of where we are. There's no guarantee that Bitcoin will remain on the top of the heap. It very well may be replaced. The other thing that you hear in the news that's negative about Bitcoin that may eventually lead to that replacement is the energy requirements to mine. The amounts of energy that's required to mine $1 worth of Bitcoin are huge. It actually takes more energy and more requirements, more electricity and power, and giving it a bigger carbon footprint to mine $1 worth of Bitcoin versus mining $1 worth of gold. Gold is cleaner. Hard to believe, considering all the industrial efforts that go into mining gold, but gold is cleaner to mine than Bitcoin. So let's talk about the long-term future of Bitcoin. Now, I've said, and I'll say again, that people will be buying and selling and making or losing money in Bitcoin for years to come. No doubt about it. But what's the long-term future for Bitcoin? And I'm not talking in the next 5 years, and I may not even be talking in the next 10, but 10 to 15, it may be as soon as 10. It wouldn't surprise me. It won't be in 5. What's the long-term future of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies too? Ethereum and doge and whatever. Even if Bitcoin doesn't end up as the top of the heap in 5 or 10 years, even those other currencies, what's the future of them? Well, I think you should be listening to government officials and looking at what governments are doing. I mentioned that Turkey put the kibosh on Bitcoin in Turkey. Turkey's a small nation though. I mean, they're not a world leader. China has been putting the kibosh, not quite as extensively as Turkey, but they've been putting limits and saying things and, tamping down on Bitcoin. China is not some little nation that, isn't involved in the daily life of millions of people. China is the second largest economy in the world. When China says, hey, you banks, no Bitcoin, that's a big deal. And that was part of why we had a recent drop, a big drop in Bitcoin a few weeks back, a huge drop, because China's making a maneuver. But it's not just China. Listen to what Janet Yellen, who's now the head of the Fed, is saying. I'm sorry, not the Fed. She was the head of the Fed. She's now the head of the Treasury. Janet Yellen, who's the head of the Treasury, is saying about Bitcoin. She's saying that, it's inefficient, that it uses too much energy to mine. They're starting to grumble against Bitcoin. And it's the other cryptocurrencies too. It's not just China's ahead. They've started to tamp down. The Treasury Department is starting to say, we got issues with this. And, the Bank of England, which is their Federal Reserve, the Bank of England, their chief governor, the guy who's the head, has said, hey, cryptocurrency investors shouldn't plan to invest anything that they don't plan on losing. In fact, they should be prepared to lose all of their investment, 100%. Now you say, well, who are these guys? They're government leaders, okay? And them grumbling and saying that, there's issues. The Bank of England guy also said that these cryptocurrencies, they have no intrinsic value. I mean, they have extrinsic value because people are willing to pay money for them, but there's nothing behind them. All it is a bit of code. Gold at least has some, industrial values. It's used in electronics quite a bit, also used for jewelry and other things. But cryptocurrencies, no intrinsic value, and that's what the guy's saying. So when you hear, small governments like Turkey slapping it down, and you see bigger, more important governments like China starting to put the kibosh on it, and you hear Western economy leaders like the Bank of England and the U.S. Treasury speaking down against it, what's behind this? Where is it going? Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you is the idea of blockchain and digital currency is actually a powerful idea. And that's the reason it's been so popular. It's not just something where, it doesn't really matter. It's grown and gotten big and become popular. And what's happened is governments around the world have looked at things like Bitcoin and other digital cryptocurrencies and said, hey, they're taking power from us. You see, Bitcoin, and this is something that Janet Yellen also said, that they're concerned about Bitcoin and Ethereum and other things being used for criminal enterprises. So, they don't like it because it's using too much energy. They don't like it because it's criminal enterprises. They didn't mention this, but it's true. There's possible ways that you can, structure things to use cryptocurrency to avoid taxes. And trust me, governments don't like you to avoid taxes. So where am I going with this? Well, I need to point out to you that government controls money. Every government just about on the planet, even little island nations with 10 or 20,000 citizens for the whole country, have their own money because it's part of government control. It's part of government, it's part of governments and politicians wanting to be able to have a control on your life. And crypto competes with money. In the United States, it wasn't always that the U.S. issued money and no other legal tender was allowed in the U.S. In the early days, in the 1850s and before that, lots of people could issue money. In the early days of the California gold rush in the 1850s, there were private mints that made coins out of gold that were used as currency. There was a time when the Mormon Church made its own money, issued its own coins. Other people issued private currency. In those days, the value of currency was based on the gold or silver or copper that was in the currency. So, if you made a coin that had $5 worth of gold in it and it said, Chris Ralph currency, $5, it was legit currency, okay? But in 1857, I believe, or 58, that was outlawed by then President Abraham Lincoln, somebody who a lot of people have heard of, because government wanted to control money. Okay, that's part of how they control the economy, taxes, and everything else. And so, because crypto competes with money, governments around the world are looking at digital currency. Digital currency is a good idea, but governments don't want the competitor, private crypto, taking over. They want to take over. Now consider this. When government fully implements, when the US government, or whether it be England or France or any other country, China, implements full digital currency control, you won't be able to go to McDonald's and buy a hamburger or to the store and buy a gallon of milk without the government knowing that you went to the store and bought a gallon of milk. Now, put yourself in the seat of a politician and think, which would you rather have? Full control of everything that's spent everywhere, or no control because the money that people are spending is private cryptocurrency? Total control? No control. Full control and make people pay taxes and everything else? Or no control, let people do all sorts of illegal things and avoid taxes? Which do you think the politicians are going to choose? It ain't hard to guess. And like I say, like the United States and many countries around the world, China is actually in the lead as far as implementing a government-based, it's not cryptocurrency, they call it government-based digital currency or central bank digital currencies. China's in the lead. They're making progress and theirs will be out soon. The US government, we're years behind, but we're working on it. And other countries, maybe in the same league with us, other Western countries. But you can bet your bottom dollar that when US controlled digital currency comes out, they're not going to say, oh, keep breaking the law with Bitcoin. They're going to say, you must use our digital currency. Just like President Lincoln, when people could make coins or whatever. Yeah, the government decided that was not a good idea. And they haven't changed their mind. So the long-term future of Bitcoin is to be replaced by a digital dollar. The long-term future of pretty much all cryptocurrencies is to be replaced by digital currencies in the countries that they're involved in. And if you don't think the government can force a business, you have to have a business to hold your, to be an exchange, you have to have a business. Exchanges require licenses and other things, and they have employees. They're subject to government control. No matter what country they're in, that country will have some level of control, and it will, in the long haul, be replaced by that country's digital currency. So, for the short term, people will buy and sell cryptocurrencies, and some will make money and some will lose their shirts. But that will continue. And I think a large part of why the government is allowing that stuff to continue is because they want you to get used to the idea of digital currency. Hey, digital currency, it's everywhere. We're just replacing it with something better. Better is Uncle Sam's digital currency. He'll make sure that it isn't going to be stolen, although I have a hard time swallowing that one. But in fact, it may be that the government is the one doing the stealing. In those days, if a court decides, you owe some money or something, the government will press a button and the money will come out of all your accounts, or an instant lien against your house or something. Again, it's the idea of total control of the economy and every dollar that everyone spends, or private currency that they have zero control over. You got to think like a politician for a second, because no politician is going to go for this. They're all going to go for the total control. There's all kinds of things that go with that, and you may be thinking of scary futuristic stuff with the government controlling every dollar that floats in the economy. It's like, yeah, you should be serious about that and think about it, because in the long run, it's coming. So let's review the things. Bitcoin, people are going to buy and sell it. There's a lot of volatility, but it's going to surge and pull back and surge and pull back. It's got a huge amount of volatility. If the thought of making a lot of money and losing half of it in a day is a problem, maybe you shouldn't be, or at least shouldn't have very much money in cryptocurrencies, because there's going to be bubbles form, and bubbles pop and build up new bubbles, and bubbles pop until we get to the point where the government says, we want you to replace your digital currency with our digital currency. Yeah, that will come. It's just not in the immediate future. But in fact, the surge of doge, a thing that started out as a joke and has, recently it was like 60 cents a doge coin. It shows that there's a bubble forming. Basically, when things that have virtually no value are high priced, that's when there's a bubble. The other thing that goes with the bubble is that there are over 10,000 cryptocurrencies that exist, and new ones coming on every day. There's nothing to stop. You can make as many digital currencies as you want, and a lot of them, like Doge, there's no limit. Bitcoin has a limit. There's supposed to be only 21 million Bitcoin ever, and that's part of why it's so high priced per coin. Doge, though, doesn't have any such limit. There could be bazillion Dogecoin. It wasn't really designed to be something of value. Now, like I say, politicians want to control their central economies, and they want to control their currencies. That's not a good news for cryptocurrencies in the long run. And from the perspective of a politician, private cryptocurrencies are too much used to avoid taxes and to conduct illegal business. That's going to be what, the media, which is the lapdog of the politicians, especially liberal politicians, will be saying, oh yeah, no, it's anti-patriotic not to turn in your Bitcoin for dollar coin. When that comes, expect the lapdog media to just whatever you want. That's how it's going to work. So, to sum up Bitcoin, there's good things and bad. And for the short term, there will be money made and money lost. But in the long run, you won't have that anymore, or it won't be significant. The government will tamp it down until it becomes insignificant, and they'll have such high-level reporting requirements that you might as well be in the government digital currency, because everything you do, if they allow it to survive, everything you do with a crypto will be known to Uncle Sam. Now, what about gold? Well, you can't just push a button and make more gold. Just like you have a program and you release it into the wild, and now you have a new cryptocurrency and hopefully people will want it. Well, you can't just do that with gold. It's not just a program. You can't make new gold on a whim. Making new gold is difficult. Gold is beautiful and it's rare. Like Bitcoin, there'll only be 21 million supposedly. There is a situation with gold that it's beautiful and it's rare, and it isn't like there's suddenly going to be massively more gold on the market. Or there won't be a situation where Bitcoin is replaced by something else. There's still gold. There always has been. Gold has been appreciated by mankind for many, many thousands of years. You don't need an exchange or a wallet to hold your gold. I can take gold, put it in my pocket, and go wherever I please. Sometimes it's good to have analog because you can take it with you. And if someone steals your gold, they have to come in and do it. In other words, you can't digitally steal gold. You have to show up. Whether your gold is in a safe or at your house or wherever, if someone's going to steal it, they have to physically come and steal it. Whereas with cryptocurrencies, it is absolutely, and it's been proven so by many examples, it's absolutely possible for someone to change programs, reprogram, undo programs, do other things, and suddenly all your Bitcoin is gone. So you ask me, what am I going to do? To be honest, I don't have any cryptocurrency, but it's fascinating to watch because it's just something new and unusual. I'm sticking with the old school, with the gold standard. I keep my gold in a vault, in a bank, and for me, that's as safe as it's going to be. People tell me, well, the bank could steal it. Yes, that's theoretically possible, but even if I buried it somewhere on my property, people could come steal that too. It's always theoretically possible. But like I say, with Bitcoin, they don't even have to show up. Just press a button and bing, your money's gone. That's not really a good choice. So for me, my choice is going to be the real thing, gold. And I'll keep an eye on Bitcoin and ethereum and doge and whatever else comes down the line in the future years. But my recommendation is, if you're going to try to have a store of wealth, you really are way better off in gold, just for safety and a whole lot of other things. And the fact that the government isn't going to come to your currency exchange or coin exchange and say, hey, here's our order from a judge. You must now change all your Bitcoin into US government dollar digital coin. That day's coming. Don't tell yourself that it's not, because it is. Anyway, the choice, gold versus Bitcoin, I'm standing with gold. Now, if you have a desire to acquire gold by other means, like you want to prospect and pan for and find your own gold, because hey, you can go out in you can go out in the analog world and analog mine your own gold. If you want to find gold and learn to be a prospector, I've written a great book about that. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my book right now. So let me tell you a little bit more about my book. It's called Fistful of Gold, and I wrote it because I want you to be able to go out and find for yourself Fistful of Gold. And you can see that it's an encyclopedia with all kinds of information, pictures, and that sort of thing. It's not in color, but color would have cost me a lot more to have printed, and so the book would have cost a lot more. It's for sale on Amazon, and you can pick it up. I'll put a link in the description below. I also serve as the editor for a prospecting magazine. It's ICMJ's Prospecting and Mining Journal. And honestly, you should check that out. We got stories and information, legal stuff, everything you know to increase your skills as a prospector. I write articles in this every month, and a lot of other very experienced prospectors contribute to the magazine as well. So check the magazine out. Also, I have a website, and the website is at NevadaOutbackGems.com. I'll put a link for it in the description below, but there's gobs of information there that you will find useful in your prospecting efforts. Finally, I want to say that I really appreciate your comments and thoughts, and even positive criticism. Don't come on there and just toss out insults, because I'll just delete your comments. But if you've got helpful things to say and questions to ask, do write and put those in the comments, because I answer my comments to people, and you'll hear from me in responding to you. So if you've enjoyed this video and you like what you see and you're interested in finding out more, well then sign up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so they'll let you know when I post new videos. And like it and share it if again you see stuff that you really are excited about. And I'll be coming out with lots more new videos, and so we'll see you again real soon.